SaintsFootballTalk.com. Elias J. Williams here. Monday evening quarterback. It's a little late. 8:55. I had a little few things to do, but we gonna chop it up. Listen, Saints lost a tough gun, 21-17. Very entertaining game. And I know you've probably gotten tired of me criticizing Kellen Moore. So I'm gonna do a minuscule amount of that today. A lot of people are going to point out the fourth down play. Is what it is. The Saints haven't been able to get a yard all year. You're not going to fix that this year. And we'll talk about that a little bit in the future. The Saints lost the game on the play to Olave that he missed that catch. Now, I'm going to give Olave 50% of the blame on that. And the reason I say 50% and why the other 50% is going to go to Kellen Moore is because if you look at Chris Olave's career to date, he's not made that catch more than he's made that catch. You got to know your personnel, okay? That's not a play you dial up for Olave. It's not a play that he's had success with. It's not a play that he wins on at a statistically high enough percentage to dial his name up on that play. And so my problem is that Vele is 8 for 8 at this point. He's the reason you're in the dance. Sure, it didn't make the 2-point conversion. That's okay. That play went exactly where it was supposed to go to Vele. Even if he scored the touchdown, I am fine failing with your best playmakers. If I'm not going to win this game with my best player being the target, then I'm just not going to win the game. That's okay. But he's 8 for 8. He recovered the onside kick. He got you to the dance. He's 6'4", 215 pounds. Olave, 6 foot 189. Roughly 31-inch arms. Vele, probably 33-inch arms. Regardless, football is a game of inches. Who do you think had the better opportunity to make the play on that ball based on everything I just told you? That play was supposed to be dialed up for Vele, and those are the details, again, that Kellen Moore struggles with. But I'm okay with that, because here's the thing. Kellen Moore is going to be here. He's not going anywhere. And I like Kellen Moore. Here's some things that Kellen has done well this year. Number one, he's kept his team healthy. He and Ted Rath, do believe it's Rath. That program that they put together to keep this team healthy has been successful. Number of injuries drop. You've seen those reports, those injury reports throughout the week. They've been clean. As clean as they can possibly get. He's also developed Shuck. And I told y'all Shuck was better when y'all said it was cap when I said the game they won with the Panthers, they won because of Shuck. They nearly won that game again because of Shuck versus Miami. The boy can play. And this is coming from a Rattler person who I felt like Kellen Moore's play calling was holding Rattler back. I still think that. Because Shuck is experiencing the same ticky-tacky play calling. The only difference is that Shuck has consistently been able to overcome it in ways that Rattler couldn't. The boy can ball. And so when you look at the development, when I spoke about Shuck, remember, I pointed out Shuck only had 800, maybe 900 passes in college. You compare that to a Bo Nix who, 1,800 passes Bo Nix threw in college. Michael Penix, 1,700 passes. Shuck was on the same level as Ryan Tannehill when Ireland drafted him around 750 passes. You just don't have enough experience there to really know. So the fact that Shuck came in with that level of inexperience, despite the amount of time he was in school, Kellen Moore and his staff have done a good job at developing him. And that was probably the most important thing, because what haven't we been able to do in New Orleans since Drew Brees? Hadn't really figured out the quarterback situation. I will continue to say Shuck is making his case, and he's having somewhat of an uphill climb with Kellen Moore, because I still don't think Kellen Moore is getting the best out of all his players. But something about Shuck is allowing him to transcend some of the situations that Kellen has put him in, and he's performing pretty well. So we're going to talk about it from this standpoint. Because we're moving forward with Kellen Moore, how can you best build around him? How can you build this team around him? Well, number one, you're going to have to get chunk yardage guys. You got to get some playmakers. You're going to need two of them. Okay? You're going to need one on the perimeter, a wide receiver that can take a screen and turn it and switch it from maybe a 5-yard screen, turn it into 15, 25 yards. If it's blocked up and it should get 5 yards, you're going to need a player that can turn it into 20, 25 yards. Chunk yardage is something that's missing from this offense. And this offense is bland. What you're seeing is correct. This offense is incredibly boring. So the guys are going to have to make plays. So you got to get a specialist on the outside that can make some plays. You're then going to have to do the same thing at running back. If it's blocked up 5 yards, you need an explosive running back that can turn it into 15, 20 yards. You're going to have to do that. Going to have to make it work. The next thing you're going to do, as we talked about, not being able to get a yard this year, hey, it is what it is. You got to fix the interior guard unit. Now, here's something interesting. Fuaga has taken a step back this year. He quite simply has. He spent a lot of time on the island. Kellen Moore puts his tackles on the island a lot, and he has regressed this year. Now, one thing you have to remember about him is he came from a zone scheme at Oregon State. That was the reason the Saints drafted him. They were very zone heavy, and we know how I feel. Kellen Moore should have stuck with the outside zone scheme and said he's more of a duo/inside zone guy. Do you potentially move Fuaga to one of the guard spots? Because that would solve a huge problem with the run game. And the run game would help this offense move smoother. So just some food for thought. Now, my guy, that boy Wolf, he has pointed out that number one, some of the things that have looked the best the last few weeks have been off-schedule plays from Shuck. But number two, he also pointed out, and I think it was better yet, may have not been Wolf, it may have been TJ. Kellen Moore is struggling to score points first quarter, first possession. Well, newsflash. That's kind of who he is. Last year with the Eagles, they were just as bad scoring first quarter, first possession. And this is where you can tell that talent isn't the difference, because the Eagles had the type of wide receiver he needed with A.J. Brown. They had the interior offensive line. They had the quarterback. They just weren't very good at scoring early. So what does that tell us? Well, that tells us that Kellen Moore is not good at scripting plays. It's a weakness of his. He may grow in that area over time. And here's another thing. It could be a Doug Nussmeier thing. Just a random thought. He is a first-time OC after having spent most of his time being a quarterback coach. So a lot of these issues we're seeing offensively may actually be an offensive coordinator issue. Just some food for thought. But anyway, back to the issue. It's not scoring a lot of points. So how do you balance that out? And you're going to have to build a defense that can stop the other team from getting the lead. You're going to have to build a defense that stops the other team from getting a lead. Now, defensive coach has said that the linebackers are the tone setters of this team. Chase Young has been playing out of his mind. That's one piece. Danny Stutzman, when he gets on the field, a problem. That's a tone setter. Y'all saw that hit on that ball over the weekend. Tone setter. All right? Need to continue adding pieces. Granderson has kind of flamed out. I would keep Cam Jordan. I think that man has earned the right to be a situational pass rusher to continue chasing that sack title. I would bring him back personally. But if a guy like Arvell Reese is sitting there, you picking 4 or 5, because I do think the Saints have an opportunity to win, 2 or 3 more games. I don't think they need to be picking 2. But if you can get a guy like Arvell Reese and put him on the opposite side of Chase Young, you got a problem there for opposing offenses. All right. Then on top of that, you need to get the cornerback situation. McKinstry is a very good number 2. I think he's an Adebo replacement, but you don't have your Lattimore replacement on the field. Hopefully you can upgrade that in free agency. And you'll also be looking, in my opinion, to replace Alontae Taylor. Y'all saw a lot of those whiffed tackles, those missed tackles. He had that one good game. Everybody was like, oh, please pay him. God, no. The kid is second year, far away the worst tackler on the team. He is leading the team in missed tackles again. And the issue with that is he's a part of the first line of defense as the slot defender in those situations, meaning, as you saw multiple times, when he misses the tackle, the play goes for a longer game. His missed tackles are killing the defense in a lot of ways. So you need a replacement there. I would let him walk. You need a replacement there. You figure out the slot situation, add another pass rusher, get you a number 1 corner, and maybe tweak the safety position a little bit, and you suddenly have a dominant defense that can stop opposing offenses from scoring early and give Kellen Moore a chance to get a feel as the game progresses. Another thing he's been good at is second half adjustments. We've come out and we've been a better team later in the game than we've started out. So the only way to balance that is to make sure your defense is dominant enough to give that offense a chance to get its bearings and get going. Those are the ways that you build around Kellen Moore. Again, I like him. I think there's a lot of things that he does well. I just think the details that a good head coach, that attacking spirit, that aggressiveness about him, that killer instinct. I told y'all in one episode, he gives me LeBron vibes. LeBron's a great player. I don't think he has the killer instinct of Jordan and Kobe. I like my coaches to have that about him. And it's possible he could learn that. I mentioned this several times. It's possible he can have his Ron Rivera, Riverboat Ron moment where it just clicks for him. Don't know. He's still young. But as of right now, you're going to have to hit in this draft. And you're going to have to surround him with better talent. And maybe at some point, you maybe have to swap out some coordinators here and there to keep him, to lift him as he grows. But he's not going anywhere. And I'm perfectly okay with that. Even though I would fire him first season, that's just me. I'm also not completely belligerent and ignoring what we all know is going to happen. We have a very patient GM. Speaking of, I'm going to leave the link for my Vele article that I wrote back when we acquired him because, got a lot of flack. Loomis gets a lot of flack. Whole time the man been sitting on the bench being underutilized, and he was the weapon, exactly the weapon you thought he was with the Broncos. It's the same weapon he was, just was underutilized. 6'4", 215-pound receivers don't grow on trees, especially 6'4", 215-pound receivers that have produced in the NFL already. You spend a 4th-round pick on a receiver, that's fine. But you don't know how his game is going to translate. That's why trading for Vele was a smart move, because there's no predicting in it. You don't have to try to figure out how things are going to fit. You already were getting a guy that could give you 500, 600 yards, and you don't know if he's reached his ceiling yet. Very smart move. I've continued to say it was a smart move, just got proven. So, SaintsFootballTalk.com, Elias J. Williams. Again, I'm going to drop that article, that Vele article. You can go back, reread that. I really enjoyed writing it. Haven't been writing as much. I've been leaning more on the videos. we'll see how that pans out. Monday evening quarterback, Elias J. Williams. You have a great one.